everybody. Okay, so this week we are going to make French toast. I thought that would be a really fun treat for you to make for your families this week, and so we'll learn about doing that. We're gonna make fluffy French toast. But before that, a few things. All right, we're in the kitchen. I remembered my apron this week. And girls, you need to have your hair back. And what does everybody have done first? Hands. Wash your hands. Make sure everybody has their hands washed. I have my hands washed. And now, the pictures that I forgot to show last week for the shout outs. Okay, so first, Lily made a delicious chicken dinner for her family. Do you see that she even made a topping to go on it? Yum, yum, yum. Okay, actually, I did not write it on the back. I'm sorry, Lily. I don't remember what her mom had said she put on that, but it looks delicious. She did a great job. It looks like Lily learned not only remembered about making chicken when we talked about it before, so she practiced that, but it looks like she may have maybe diced some things up, or she used a jar of salsa, something like that. But she used spices, and she did a fantastic job. Good job, Lily. Okay, then Greta and Lydia made our strawberry topping. Pause it. Okay, Lydia and Greta made this delicious strawberry shortcake at their house last week. They made our strawberry topping recipe, put it on some little shortcakes, and topped it off with some whipped cream. It looks so good. Their mom said it was delicious. And it looks delicious, doesn't it? Oh, great job, Lydia and Greta. They've been cooking up a storm, huh? They've been doing a lot. Okay, now we have several pictures that were sent to us from our friends Morella, Zasia, Karina, and Joanna. So first I want to show, sorry, I did not put these in order. Okay. They made the haricot that we talked about, and so you can see it in the little bowl, and they're eating it. So they made the apple haricot that we talked about with the apples and walnuts and grape juice. Yum. I wonder if they liked it. Did you girls like it? Your faces look positive, so I think maybe they did. We liked it here. And you know what? It's so funny. I love those flowers on your table, girls, because my daughter's boyfriend, who's like a bonus kid for us now, he got me this same bouquet for my birthday, and it lasted forever. Didn't that bouquet last you girls forever? Those flowers stay in vases for a long time. So pretty. Okay. Then it was Zasia's birthday. Happy birthday, Zasia. And it says that they made and decorated a cake. It was lemon blueberry cake with cream cheese icing. Lemon blueberry cake with cream cheese icing. You girls are taking your skills to the next level. That sounds amazing. I love lemon and blueberries together. Oh, it's so good. So look at this cake. This looks like Zasia. Is that what it was supposed to be, girls? Were you making a Zasia cake? I think maybe so, because she's got brown hair like Zasia, and she's wearing a dress. And we all know that it's not a Zasia cake unless the little girl's wearing a dress, right? Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I can imagine how delicious it was. Great job on decorating. I love the details on that. And they put some flowers on it too. Oh, perfect. Okay. And then they also made the strawberry topping. So we have Morella here stirring up the strawberries in the pan on the stove. Great job using your safety skills. I see you're not touching the pan at all. You're watching carefully. You're stirring with your hand up on the handles where it's not too close. Great job, Morella. And it looks like it tasted delicious because they have it here where they're eating it. We've got Joanna and Karina having some for their meal. Oh, it looks so good. You girls did such a great job. I'm so proud of my whole class for all of the cooking that you've been doing lately. You've all done a great job. Be very, very proud of yourselves. Okay, so today I said we were going to do French toast. So we're going to do a fluffy French toast. All right, here's our ingredients. We need a 1/4 cup flour, a cup of milk, a pinch of salt, 3 eggs, 2 teaspoons of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of nutmeg, 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, a tablespoon of white sugar, and it makes 12 thick slices of bread. You can use it for up to 12 pieces. I don't know if I'm going to use it for 12 pieces because I'm not sure if I have 12 pieces. But we're going to use thick sliced bread. Now, you can use, let me get a piece of regular sandwich bread out to show you. You can use regular sandwich bread, but it's kind of thin, so it's going to, when you're cooking it up, when it's so heavy with the egg and the milk on it, it's going to come out even thinner than this. Like the middle is going to be very flat, and it's not going to have a lot of oomph to it, a lot of texture and things. But if you use a thick bread, you can you get Texas toast if you want to, which is even thicker than this. But see how that's thicker than that one? And actually, this is like the first piece out of the loaf, so I guess I do have plenty of bread to do 12 slices. But do you see how that's thicker than this one? So it's better to do, and you can't feel it because obviously I'm on video, but if we were in class, I would let you feel these 2 breads. This one is a lot, you can see all on the texture where all the air bubbles were in it. So it's very, very light, and it's gonna flatten really easy because it's gonna soak up so much of it. This is not just thicker, but it's denser, so it feels different. So when you get some thick sliced bread and then you have some thin sandwich bread at home, I want you to feel the difference in that, because you can feel how that's going to hold up better when we put it in the eggs and milk, and when it's cooking, then that will hold up. Okay? So we're going to use the thick sliced bread. And if you make your bread at home, just take a loaf and cut it thicker, and it will be fine. You don't have to have a special kind. Let's see. So let's start out. Victoria, can you get the small whole milk out of... Actually, we can use skim milk. You can use whole or skim. I usually use whole when I'm cooking and baking, but I have some things I need to bake later for my niece's birthday, some treats, and so I'm just going to use my skim milk now, so I don't use up my whole milk that I will definitely need for that. I get breadcrumbs all over that. Okay, so, and I'm going to use a griddle. You can use a skillet on the stove if you need to. So, like how we did our strawberries, our strawberry toppings. Use a skillet, use those safety skills. I like to use a griddle just because I can fit several pieces on here at once. Usually get 6 pieces on. If you're using a griddle, you need to have your parent supervision. Mine only has 3 sides that have kind of a buffer that's where you don't accidentally touch it. But because of where my cord is here at the table instead of on the counter, when I have it on the counter, I usually have this side facing to the back, so that way nobody can get burned on it. But just the way that where my cord is here, my outlet for doing this show for you guys, I had to do it this way. So I have to be extremely careful not to touch this once I turn it on. It's going to be very, very hot very, very quickly. This whole top gets hot very, very quickly. So when you're cooking on the stove, your pan gets hot, and the burner gets hot because that's what's heating your pan, but the rest of your stove doesn't usually get hot. This whole thing is going to be hot. This whole thing is a burner. The whole thing's going to be hot, okay? So you need to be very careful. And even these edges that are there to kind of for safety, they still get warm, okay? So you want to be really careful with that. And then when we're frying it up in a little bit, I'm going to use this Crisco butter flavor. I usually always fry and cook with real butter. It's all natural ingredients. It's usually just cream and salt to make real butter. But because I'm going to be frying up so much, real butter can burn easily on a hot skillet and a hot griddle. And usually I will just take paper towels or a kitchen rag and I wipe it off between batches, between a set of bread that's going on there or whatever I'm frying on here. And I'll wipe it off. But saving time, and I actually read this trick online and hadn't tried it yet, and I thought, oh, this will be a good night to try it. A butter flavored Crisco, if you have it on hand, doesn't burn like the butter does. So I shouldn't have to wipe it off between each time. We'll see how that goes. I'm going to try it. It's something new for me. We'll find out. Okay. Now, I am going to turn this on to start heating up. I usually do mine about 350. Okay, so if you're on the skillet on the stove, medium high is what you're gonna want. Medium to medium high. Okay, we're gonna start with our recipe. It says measure the flour into a large mixing bowl. So we need a 1/4 cup flour. I've got my flour stuff, and I've got my 1/4 cup. So remember, the 1/4 cup is probably going to be your smallest measuring cup, unless you have like a huge set of measuring cups where you might have an 8, but usually 1/4 cup. That's the smallest one we've been working with in class. It's the 1/4, 1/4 cup. Okay, 1/4, 1/4 cup. Now, remember, when we measure flour, you do not take your 1/4 cup and scoop it in there, because what have we done? Do you remember? We have gotten that flour, it's too much in there, isn't it? We've packed it in there when you do that. We've packed in the flour, and then it's too much. And then your recipe is going to be too floury, and you don't want that. Flour is one of those things. You take your other scooper, you put this over your measuring cup over the flour, and you gently pour that into it. So it's loose. You want it nice and loose. And then you take the back of your knife or the back of your mixing spoon. My whisk I'm using isn't really that straight. It's kind of curvy, so it wouldn't make it very straight. So that's why I'm using the back of a butter knife. So, but usually, we use the back of our mixing spoons because we don't want to dirty another dish. That's okay. So I'm going to scrape that off straight. Now I've got 1/4 cup. Let's put that in my mixing bowl. Flour is done. Close that up. Remember, we need to clean as we go. Close that up. And now we need to put in 1 cup of milk. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes, slowly whisk in the milk. So, milk. 1 cup. Remember, when you have your measuring cups, you need to find on there the 1 cup, which is 8 ounces, 1 cup. And remember, we want to be level to our measuring cup to make sure we get the right amount in. Because if I measure this here, okay, this is great. I measured it here. It's 1 cup. But what if remember, if I'm looking up from here, it actually looks like it's more than 1 cup. So I wouldn't have poured enough if I would have measured it from here. If I'm like way down here, it looks like it's not enough. But when you're level, it's 1 cup. So don't do it from up here on a regular measuring cup, or you won't have enough. Okay. So we're gonna whisk in our milk. Slowly, because you don't want to just dump it in there, because what will happen? It will splatter everywhere, won't it? Because that's quite a bit of milk compared to that little bit of flour. So it will splatter everywhere. So you do this slowly. Get your flour incorporated and whisked in. And we can do that last little bit. Okay. So cut our flour. That's great. And then it says whisk in the salt, eggs, cinnamon, nutmeg, vanilla, and sugar. Okay, so salt, you just set a pinch. And remember, we learned a pinch is literally a pinch. So we're going to take a pinch and put it in there. That's what a pinch of salt is, literally a pinch of salt. Okay, and then 3 eggs. We've got our eggs. Do you remember, you've seen a lot of videos maybe on Facebook when your mom might be watching those fast cooking videos, and they love to crack their eggs in the bowl. But remember what we talked about in class about doing it on the edge of your bowl? What could end up in your mix?
Shells.
So we don't want a lot of shells, do we? No, we do not want a lot of shells. So we are going to crack them on the edge of the table or counter, so that way I don't get little shells in this. And then I'm going to put it in here, make sure I don't have any shells in it. Okay, nope, I'm good. So there's 1 egg. Let's do the other one. Okay, that's good. We'll do the 3rd one. Okay, and I didn't get any shells in. Fantastic. I don't have to fish any out. Yay! Break those up a second. All right, and now we need our cinnamon. 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. Come off for me. Okay, so the teaspoon, remember, it's the measuring spoon. It says 1 TSP, 1 TSP, teaspoon. Okay, that we use this one a lot. We use the teaspoon a lot. You can level that off with your finger if you want to. I like to just kind of shake it like I do my sugar, because I really like cinnamon, so I don't mind if a little bit extra gets put in there. And I really like my cinnamon in my French toast. So if you have a little extra, that is okay. I also really like nutmeg in my French toast. However, I'm out of nutmeg, and when I ordered it from the store, they were out of it. So remember how we've talked about that too lately? That I might turn this down a little bit. That right now it can be hard to get things sometimes, and that's okay. So we're going to experiment if we need to, or try other things. Okay, so then that's also why we're not sticking with our biblical feast recipes necessarily, so we don't have to try to find difficult items. French toast can be made without nutmeg. It's not a big deal at all. Cinnamon's kind of like, you really want it. You really want the cinnamon in it, but the nutmeg's okay if you don't have it. And I know the stores are hard to get it right now, so that's all right. Okay, and then we need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. And remember, we've talked about vanilla before too. All right, really have my one DSP again. Up over the thing. We've talked about vanilla too. If you or your family doesn't like a strong vanilla flavor, you don't have to put 2 in. You can put 1 in. It's okay. I wouldn't put more than 2, because this is going to be more on the stronger side. 1. I don't know what it is about this new bottle, but it just doesn't like to pour out very easily. Shoot. But it does make a mess, which is why I'm glad I have this little bowl to do it over. Okay. Now then, 1 tablespoon of white sugar. You can use brown sugar. That's another thing you can experiment with. Remember, we talked about brown sugar. What is brown sugar? It's white sugar with molasses in it. Remember that? So it gives things a deeper, richer flavor. So that's a cool way to experiment if you want to try that. I'm just going with the traditional recipe tonight of white sugar. That's what most French toasts are made with, is white sugar. But I think I might try that next time. I think I might try the brown sugar next time. Let me know if you try the brown sugar instead of the white sugar.
Or if you have cane sugar, try that and let us know. Because cane sugar tastes a little different.
Oh, because it's not as processed as much. Right. Okay, so what was it? 1 tablespoon. So tablespoon is the one, it'll say TBS or TBL. This one says TBS, but it has to have the B in it for the tablespoon. Remember, that's your big measuring spoon, okay? So we're going to do 1. Shake that level. 1 tablespoon of sugar. Okay. Oh, I left my tablespoon in there. Oh, if I forgot that in there, I'd be wondering later, what in the world happened to my tablespoon? It wouldn't be till I looked on my counter and saw inside there. Oh, no. Okay, let me turn this back up now that we're almost ready to cook. It was getting a little warm here right underneath me. Whew. Okay, so we're going to whisk that together. Now, do you remember about whisking? You've only done whisking a couple times. Now, you're not going to go crazy and make it go splattering crazy everywhere. And your wrist is going kind of like a little circle. Can you see with that egg on there? It's kind of easy to see how I'm doing it. You see, it's a little circle, okay? It's a little circle. So in it, you're going to do little circles. That is whisking. It's not the wrist. So you're not like, it's not your arm. It's not big, because that would be big, huge whisks, and you're gonna go everywhere. It's gonna be a mess. But if it's little wrist circles, you can whisk. Now, if you're having a hard time learning the little wrist circles, because that does take some practice sometimes, some coordination. It's not normal, and that's okay. It's not natural, I should say. And so it takes a little bit of practice. If you're having a hard time doing your little wrist circles for whisking, just go back and forth, and that's okay too. It's a different type of whisk. And when you get older and are doing a little more cooking, you can learn about how that puts air in a different way. And if you're doing whipped cream, but for today, you can do either. You can do your little wrist, so that's a tongue twister, wrist circles for whisking. That's my favorite kind of whisking, are the wrist circles. But you can go back and forth if you need to. Were you able to show those, Victoria? Okay, good, thank you. Victoria's my camera lady again today. So for those of you in class that remember seeing her up at co-op, she's our camera gal again. Okay, that's ready to go. And I'm going to keep my whisk handy because the cinnamon is going to end up coming to the top of this mix. And it's going to get on the bread. But then you want to whisk it up so it doesn't all end up on the first 2 slices of bread and the rest of your bread has no cinnamon on it. So you're going to whisk it. And then it says you're going to heat your griddle or frying pan. and then soak your bread slices until saturated. So I'm going to put a couple pieces in at a time to really soak in there. Oh, Victoria, can you get the rest of that bread out for me? I just put both my hands in the egg instead of just one, so I can't reach back into the bag. Okay, we had to pause for a moment because Victoria had to get the bread out for me because I put my hands in the egg. But I've got them wiped off now so that way I can get into the Crisco. But we're going to use this. I might just take this out of that whole container actually. There we go. Use my spatula here. Sorry if you see all this fruit. We have an abundance of apples and oranges right now at our house. So if we weren't on the stay at home, I'd say, hey, come get some apples and oranges from me if you want. But, because we were given some and it was just a lot for us. I might drop them on my mom's doorstep. Man, that's melting really nicely too. I've not used this Crisco before, but that's melting nicely. Ooh, maybe a little too nice. That's like a lot of Crisco. I'm used to just taking my butter stick and just going like this with my butter stick, not actually putting it on the... Okay, so here we go. Ooh, that is saturated. Ooh. I hope that they were right when it said it needed to be saturated. Because this is a new recipe that I'm using because it says fluffy. And I've not ever put flour in my French toast before. And I thought, that's what I want. I want fluffy. And everything I read online said, the secret is flour. The secret is flour. So, we're trying it tonight. Tell me how it turns out at your house if you're able to make it. Because, here, I'm going to whisk it up again to make sure I get that flour on everything. Tell me how it turns out at your house, because it smells really good. But I'm hoping it turns out great tonight, and I think it will. I think it's going kind of lighter than I'm used to. I need to scoot these over. But I can already feel how they're holding up better than regular bread does, and that's why I like to use thick bread. I just don't always buy thick bread when I make this. But other than the flour, that's pretty much the recipe I've always used with French toast. It's just a very traditional taste, this recipe. So now we're going to see. We're going to wait till these turns on the end. Those were really soaked. Those might take a little longer. Those are the two I left in there while I was getting my hands cleaned up so I could use the Crisco. So they might have to cook a little longer. These other two I just put in there to kind of soak on each side and then took it out. It'll just cook just for a couple minutes. So we're going to pause this for a minute while these cook. And then after I'm able to turn them and they're almost done, we'll come right back so we can see what they look like when they're finished. Okay, so they're ready to turn now. I turned the middle too. So here's what they look like. Look at that! How pretty it is!
Guys, this smells so good.
It really does smell very good. I love the smell of cinnamon. And vanilla. Okay, let's see if this end is ready. This end might not be. Oh, maybe. Yeah. Okay. Let's scooch some of these over. It's kind of tight on here. These are such big pieces. This bread loaf that I bought this time is wider. We like to do thick bread, but this bread is wider than what I usually do. It's what they had in stock. We're all trying new things because our normals are not at the store right now. Okay, so that's what they look like. When the other side looks like this, they'll be done, and I'm going to put them on a plate. So when the other side looks like these colors, brown, it's browned. It's golden color, however you'd like to say it, but they're browned. And so when the underneath side is done cooking and they're that same color, which you just kind of take your spatula, loosen it, and kind of look, oh, okay, that one needs a little bit more time, then you'll know when to turn it, okay? So once that's all done, you'll put it on a plate, have some French toast. I don't know how you eat your French toast at home. We like to just do syrup on ours, but sometimes we like powdered sugar. We like flavored syrup, too. We like strawberry and blueberry syrup here, too. We're going to have ours with bacon tonight, and I've got fruit. I guess, like I said, we have an abundance of fruit right now. So we've got bacon and fruit to go with ours. Another great thing to have with yours, because we're having ours as breakfast for dinner. So another thing, if you wanted something more substantial, would be maybe some ham. If you have some thick pieces of ham, you could fry those up to heat them up on the stove on a pan. Maybe some sausage patties, or if you want to have some protein but don't want meat, peanut butter. Peanut butter on French toast or peanut butter on pancakes is a great way to get protein without having the meat if you're not wanting something that heavy and you're just wanting kind of a sweet. You're wanting a sweet tooth. You have your sweet tooth that day. So that's something that you can try. I love to see how your French toast turned out, or if you've made anything else. If you're not making the French toast, but you're cooking in other ways and using some of your skills that we've learned in class all year, show me that. Send me pictures. If your parents send it to me and say I can use it on the videos, I will show the pictures just like I did today of the other classmates and give you a shout out and show the others what you're up to at home and what you're cooking. I'm going to check these, make sure I'm not burning them. I am not. And everyone can see what you're doing and cheer you on from their house, and we can all be excited for you and happy that you're working on your cooking skills. But I'd love to show those videos, or those pictures, I mean, of you and your creations. So send those in to me, to my email, and hopefully I'll have another video for you very soon. I know I'll have one at least by next week, but I was thinking about trying to get a second one in this week. We will find out. All right, you guys, I miss you all so very much, and I hope you're staying healthy and safe and having a great attitude, even with all the big emotions and the hard times that we're having right now, being having to stay at home and not being at co-op with each other. All right, have a great night, have a great week, and I'll see you later. Bye, guys.